welcome back to Super NPC Radio's PlayStation 1 30th celebration. Dee-ling, dee-ling, dee-ling. That, of course, is the perfect impression of the PlayStation 1 start sound. I am one of the hosts of this episode in this series, Connor McCabe, here to bring you a very fun one, folks, where myself and a couple of suave fellas who don't even need dual analog sticks to list our top 9 PlayStation 1 games. Yes, on this network, we don't do top 10s. In some sense we do. But we do top 9s, because that's what makes us different. Where we're going to list from all the way down from our 9 up to our first favorite game in some order. Games are going to be on everyone's list. It's going to be freaking crazy. A couple things before we get started is that if you're listening to this on our Patreon as one of your bonuses, thank you so much for supporting us there. And if you're not, consider checking us out on our Patreon to find more bonus content just like this from the makers of this show, Video Games, a Comedy Show, of my show. Check us out there. Follow us on social media. If you're a patron of any member or at any tier, jump into the Discord. And if you're not, join at the free tier and we'll send you a little link. That's it. I'll finally introduce my freaking guests here. Coming in hot, it's Mr. Peanut Butter Jelly Time himself, Jeremy Schmidt.
Oh, Connor, thanks for having me. Jam-packed. Demo disc.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. You just made lemonade out of lemons when I referenced something that has nothing to do with the PlayStation 1 and is really just a reference to a snack you had before this.
A sandwich I was eating, yeah.
You crushed it. Jeremy, glad to be doing another top 9 with you.
Yes.
Something that we've probably done this like 20 times in different ways.
It's okay, and I'll just say this: these are always my favorite episodes, and they're the ones I look forward to the most. Where I'm like just on the couch with my phone notes app open, just rearranging game titles in a list. It's weird to me that there's like not a lot else in life that's more fun than that.
It is, and yet I love it too. I love hearing other people do these.
Yeah,
so,
me too. I love watching YouTube. I still love watching listicles on YouTube of like top things.
And yeah, are some of them AI generated videos? Probably, but I don't know that. I can't tell you that, and I hope they're not, but they probably are.
Yeah, I guess
we got somebody else with us though. We got the freaking mean green 2-controller machine, Charlie Mihelich.
Hello, Connor and Jeremy. How you guys doing? The rumors are true. Today, I will finally reveal the nude code for Tomb Raider.
Oh, yes!
Dude, I wait my whole life for this.
You mean all of my browser searches between the years of 96 to 99?
I hope you've got your polygonal glasses on, because it's about to get sexy in here.
Gosh, I've always wanted to use this code because I can't possibly imagine what polygonal boobs could look like without seeing them first.
I'm really excited about this episode because I'm over here like we should see if we can set the record for the amount of games on everyone's list. Do you know what I mean? Like this might be one where
like between the three of them,
between the three of us, like I bet you more than maybe even most of their consoles, we're going to have a lot of the same stuff. Maybe not, but it'd be cool to see if we can set the record today.
I think that could be possible.
Oh no, Connor's looking at his list like he's got some sneaky stuff in store.
Well, here's, to preview it a little bit, I will say as I started to make this list, the top, very easy. The rest of it, I realized how few PlayStation 1 games I've had like a thorough experience with. Even on like ports and stuff, like I still, even after borrowing Jeremy's magic PlayStation 1 console, I barely used it. And then here I am being like, wow, I didn't even touch this one. So I think because of that, I'm dipping into a lot of like friends games that I played growing up that I bet aren't on your lists.
Okay, well that's actually exciting. And Charlie, how did you make your list? I want to know this too.
The way I made my list is there are those games that I have revisited time and time again that make it onto the list. And then there are those that I remember like having a sense memory of when I was a kid of spending a lot of time playing, like if I remember playing it at my grandma's house on like
Hmm.
days off from school where I would lug my PlayStation over, or I remember like really going deep into it because the PlayStation was like, I would say the Super Nintendo was like the first console that I got from my parents, but I remember earning and saving enough money at 10 years old to buy a PS1.
Sick.
And
Yeah.
and then just like so every time I would rent a game or play a game that was like, "Oh, that's my game." You
Yeah.
know? And would just play the hell out of it. So that's how I formed my list.
Yeah, I basically just did like my personal favorite games, and I had to be honest. This is not this is not like an IGN top 10 greatest PS1 games of all time. This is my favorite top 9 games. But guess
Yes.
what? It reads like an IGN list. I hate that it does, but it kind of a little bit does, and that was really kind of disappointing to me. But we'll get to it. But man, I was these are I kept wanting to put weirder games on here, like more deep cuts. But every time I started doing that, I was like, but I'm not being honest. That's not really the game I
Yeah.
want to play right now. You know?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, mine's very similar. It's like it is mostly my favorites and then one complete out of left field game that I'll get to. But um I before we dive in to and do these lists, how we're going to go about this is that we're again listing from our 9 to our 1 each. We're going to go around in a little circle and each do our 9s, then our 8s. So we're all counting down dramatically to that top spot. And you know what? Why don't we start with someone who I believe this is your first top 9? Charlie, why don't you list your number 9 and then we'll go from there?
Okay, my number 9 is a game that kicked off a franchise that would become a mega seller, but this is kind of a lesser known or lesser talked about entry in the franchise. That is Soul Edge.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Starting, I don't have this on my list. So this is
Yeah,
wow.
so this
Maybe we
this
won't have as much in common. This is more. That's more exciting if we don't.
I know this is
really.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first game in the Soul Calibur series, and really set the template for what was to come. Big weapons-based 3D fighter, a very dramatic voiceover, like on the stage where we set the battle that will determine history and things like that. There was like a what do you call it, like a bonus mode that was kind of like an RPG dungeon crawler where you would run through
Wow.
and collect weapons and do things like that. Some of the characters that would go on to be staples of the series appear here, but it really kind of like was a game that I just couldn't get enough of the 3D fighters back in this era, and it's one of the best.
And
Dude, I've never
Soul
played
Edge, is it, I mean, like its successors, sort of one of those Tekken-like 3D fighters where you're on like an axis that can rotate?
You're on a 3D plane. Yeah, sidestepping, ring outs are a big thing. Yeah, the big differentiator for this series was the fact that all of the characters had a weapon of some sort. Yeah, and that the Soul Edge was like the ultimate weapon that everyone was trying to get.
Dude,
Wow.
incredible. Man, I've only ever played Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Never this one.
Interesting.
yeah, Soul Calibur never got a PS1 release. It got a Dreamcast release.
Yeah.
But yeah, it never made it to the PS1 because I don't think it was, the PS1 had the technical capacity to be
Yeah.
able to run
Soul
it.
Calibur 1 almost looks like Soul Calibur 2. Like they're almost on par graphically. So it's like, that's a pretty advanced looking game for the time. One of the better looking Dreamcast games, I think. But I've never played Soul Edge. Like that's I remember the box, like seeing it at Blockbuster a lot, being like,
Gotta
what the
look that
heck
up.
is that? Yeah.
Incredible, Charlie. Dude, do you, forgive me if you've already said this. I was scrambling to make a new column on my Google Sheet to add it, your first entry, or rather your 9th. Do you remember having a main?
Having a main in the game, I don't remember who exactly my main was. I think it probably was. At this age, I would always play as the girls. I always loved playing
Oh
as the
yeah, why is
games and
that?
fighter. I don't know. I don't know why. It's just one of those
Huh.
things. But there was a Sophitia and a Taki who both
Hmm.
stayed in the series, and I remember playing as them a lot. And then Voldo, who also
Oh
Oh
became a
yeah.
yeah. Oh
mainstay
yeah.
because of his claws and like his spinning moves and things like that. And I love that. And like the fact that he would like bend over backwards.
Is this called Soul Blade in
It's
the
called Soul
US?
Blade in the arcade, Soul Edge in the arcades, and then
Mm,
Soul Blade in
on
on
the
the
PlayStation.
US consoles, and then Soul Edge in Japan.
Okay.
But I always like I now remember that the home console was, but I remember playing this in the arcades as Soul Edge and then being like super excited to play it on the home console. But yeah, Soul Blade on
Dude,
the home console.
rad. Uh,
Yeah.
Great. You're number 9, Soul Edge slash Soul Blade. Jeremy, let's hear yours.
Okay, number 9 for me is, and again, I gotta be honest about these picks. It's a game called Final Fantasy IX. Ever heard of it?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Now,
Heck yeah, I have.
Final Fantasy IX is. I almost didn't have it on the list. Obviously, it's number 9, so there was a lot of competing bottom of the list games there. But I think it's like honestly, I spent the most freaking time with Final Fantasy IX. I spent more time with it than I did a lot of other titles on the list, just because that game's so
Wow.
gosh darn long. It's
Yeah.
got 4 discs. And I'll say this about Final Fantasy on PlayStation 1. I mean, as a lot of people who lived through the 90s know, maybe the most exciting franchise coming out on the PlayStation. And if this was a list of top 9 games I was the most thrilled to buy in the store or thrilled to see on my shelf because the spine was so thick and it just looked like such a premium product, the Final Fantasy series would take all top 3 slots. But this game is really really good. On top of that, it's like a better Final Fantasy, and the characters are great. Charlie and I and David Danella did an extensive episode where we kind of pitted all the Final Fantasies on the PlayStation against each other up, and I think 9 got the silver medal. Right? It was like 7,
Yep.
9, 8. Yeah. So this one is a game that I think Oh, another thing about this game I'll say is it looks incredible, kind of still, but it really did back then. Like it was a total dropper back in the day. Like it was one of the best looking games I had ever seen or played, and it's like right before the PS2 comes out, and then of course takes over. But it's like, but yeah, it just that opening cinematic, how it looked graphically in game too. Just it was like, man, it was like the future is now. But anyway, Final Fantasy 9, number
Dude,
9,
when
9
was
and 9.
have you dipped into this in the last handful of years?
Oh yeah. So I played and beat this on the PS1. I'm very proud of.
Wow.
But when it did get remastered and put on everything, I did play through it again on Switch.
Oh,
And what was so
cool.
great is you can just you can take out all the combats if you encounters if you want. You can bump the speed up so you're like cruising through the overworld and stuff. It's it makes it where it doesn't have to take you 100 hours to play Final Fantasy 9. You can play it now in like a good 25 hours if you're just kind of wanting to see the story and stuff. And that's what I did, and it was great. And I think I did it during the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But very fun revisit.
Dude, very nice. It's one of those where I'm like, God, I know I'll love it. And
Yes.
I own this game because this has come up before. I don't know if it's come up on a podcast, but Charlie gave me like a bag of old PS1 and PS2 games, and
So
this
cool.
is one of them. So I have like the jewel case for it, but that's awesome, Jeremy. Final Fantasy IX is your number 9, and it's time for mine. Now, this one has some commonality with Charlie's number 9. This is a game that I played for the first time recently, and I'll say I had a really hard time finding a ninth entry for this list. As I was saying, I don't have a ton of PlayStation 1 games with thorough experience, but this game I had one magical night with it, and when I say that, probably a magical 20 minutes. That's a little game called Bushido Blade for the PlayStation 1.
Oh, yeah.
We played this recently when we had a little fight night round 2 at my place, and I was completely fascinated by how this game worked. I still don't understand exactly what I was doing, but it seemed like a complete marvel from this day. I think, Jeremy, you maybe played a little with me. Charlie, have you ever played this?
Yeah, I
Yeah?
was there. Yeah,
I didn't remember if
I
you'd
was
hopped on the
watching it.
sticks or not.
Yeah.
It's hard, man.
yeah.
So
It is.
hard.
There's a one hit kills, or like you can disable somebody's arm, disable somebody's leg. Yeah, the fights are very short.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a really tough game, but I really admire what they were trying to do with it in terms of trying to push the fighter to something more realistic.
Yeah, definitely. I someday, this is one of those games that I think if I was put in a hyperbolic time chamber and got to train on, I'd love to become the world's best. But you guys know I'm never. You guys know I'm never going to put in the time. But
Yeah.
Bushido Blade.
You got to invent that
Mine-
first.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little work to do. That's my number 9, and I'll go ahead and continue things going with my number 8. Now, this is a game I actually have played quite thoroughly, mostly as a kid, but it's one that I rebought. This will probably come up a bunch, but I finally bought a PlayStation 1 in the summer of 2020, the first big lockdown year during the COVID-19 pandemic. Bought a PlayStation 1, which was the mini re-release of the console, the tiny one, literally titled the PS1. And a game I bought was one that my friend Tyler had growing up, and that's a little game called A Bug's Life.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Great.
This game is, I don't even think I would describe it as good, but it was one of those. This was the game out of all of them that this friend had growing up, where there were some levels that I found so hard that I would like just crave going back to beat. You guys remember that moment in A Bug's Life where Flick takes the like little dandelion stem and flies over a little valley? That part in this game is
That is my sense memory of that game.
No way.
Is that level, and
Dude.
how difficult it was.
I think we must have gotten past it at some point, but it was truly like felt like a gauntlet. And I think it's from an era where if you die enough times, you lose your save or you go back to the beginning. I do have some like sick fantasy of being forced to stream this entire game someday. But that day is not today. A Bug's Life is my number 8, a movie license game.
It's considered a classic. I want to point this out. A Bug's
Oh.
Life is considered a PS1 classic, actually. Like, it shows up on a lot of lists these days, and I've never played this, but there must be something to it. It's kind of like that Toy Story game that also shows up a lot of lists.
Yeah.
This, I would speculate that it might have something to do. There's probably multiple reasons, but the graphics are like they kind of look like pretty good representations of the A Bug's Life Pixar characters from back in the day. So that could have something to do with it. That's my number 8. Jeremy, let's get yours.
Okay, my number 8 is a game called Tekken 3.
All right.
So, the dawn of the 3D fighters was really exciting when you were living it in real time, and Virtua Fighter was my first the game I was aware of a 3D fighter, and it was in the arcades. I don't think I know anyone who had a Sega Saturn, so I don't think I ever saw this at home, but you would see this at the arcade a lot. And back then, a lot of 90s birthday parties might be at an arcade, or a pizza place that had an arcade, or a Chuck E. Cheese that had a copy of Virtua Fighter. And I'm talking about Virtua Fighter a lot because that is like the crudest version of what Tekken 3 ends up refining, I think, for that generation, for the 90s, basically.
Yeah.
Tekken 3.
I think Tekken was supposed to be like your competitor to Virtua Fighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's really, I mean, it's not there's really no contest because it's like maybe Tekken 1 and Virtua Fighter 2 are more like on neck and neck in terms of like quality and stuff. But what you would notice about these 3D fighters when you would play them is that they were so cumbersome. Like Virtua Fighter was just like hard to kind of play. You'd be having fun doing it because you were so impressed graphically, but it was just slow and sluggish. And to this day, I think they call it a grappler kind of a fighting game. Like it's still a very kind of like technical, meticulous, plan your moves out kind of game. Tekken 3 takes all of that and just speeds it up a lot. And it gives you so many fun characters to unlock. So it's almost kind of like the beginning of me running through campaigns or arcade modes over and over and over to get new cutscenes of all the different characters and get like the new secret characters. Almost that same kind of thing I would do with the new Smash Brothers titles when they would come out, is just immediately start running through and trying to get all the secret characters that I could, because you wanted to unlock everything so that the next sleepover you had everyone there available for you and your friends to kind of play through. It was just a really cool, fast-paced 3D game that worked, and it didn't slow down. It never felt bogged down. It was always locked at a good, decent frame rate. I think it just performs really well on the console. And to be honest with you, it's a game that like I think about a lot. I could turn on right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not something that I would feel like even the slightest bit of hesitation, like playing with a group of people and still having a good time. So I was, and honestly, this is one of the few on the list that I was like surprised to see on the list. Like I didn't think before making the list I was maybe like a big Tekken 3 fan, but when I got really honest with myself, it's there. It's number 8.
Yep.
Oh.
This got some time at that Fight Night round 2, and yeah, this game absolutely rules. The memory that I have that sticks out the most of this title was growing up. I went to a sleepover for someone's birthday where we played like PlayStation 1 games most of the night and like watched some National Lampoon's movie. And there's this one, actually, the kid I referenced earlier, Tyler, couldn't pronounce this game and asked everyone if we could play Tikkanen 3. And he got absolutely dragged the rest of the night at this birthday for saying it like that. Just people piled on. Jeremy, your number 8 is Tekken 3. Charlie, let's hear yours.
Okay, my number 8 PS1 game of all time is a game that I can almost guarantee is not on either of your lists. It is a game called One. It is
One?
No, just called One.
One.
And it is a third-person shooter, a kind of isometric. This is one that was also I drafted in the Space
Yeah.
Solace.
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah.
Yes. It is a game in which you basically start, you're very weak, but as you kill people, you get more powerful. But if you take too much damage, you get weak again. So you start with kind of a weak laser, and then eventually you're shooting, projectiles. It kind of has that bullet hell mentality, except it's platformy. There's a lot of really cool effects because you're like running through buildings as these airships are firing into the buildings. So there's glass shattering everywhere and like really cool effects for the time, especially since this was like a really early PlayStation title.
This is sick.
Yeah, I remember having so much fun with it. And it was basically copied for this game with Bruce Willis called Apocalypse, where they took pretty much the exact
Neversoft.
same. Yeah, they took the exact same like control style, how the shooting mechanics worked, and it's kind of just put it on top of this Bruce Willis shell. But this game is still one that I love to revisit from time to time because it's great, mindless fun.
Yeah, this looks amazing. The guy's got an arm cannon on, kind of like Mega Man. He jumps like 5 times his own height. This rules. So 1 for PlayStation 1. Charlie, that was your number 8. We're going to stay with you to get your number 7.
All right. My number 7 is a game that would probably go on to be one of the most influential games of all time, in the sense that it launched an entire mega genre that does not share the name of this game.
Oh.
That game is Medal of Honor.
Oh.
Yeah.
The very first Medal of Honor game, which was a game that was produced by Steven Spielberg. It was the
Yeah.
very first grounded World War II shooter, Wolfenstein being the one before that, which had Mecha Hitler. But this was one in which you were a troop in I think in France in World War II, and so you are going. There's like espionage missions where you're going through Nazi bases, and you have to keep showing your papers to the Nazis in order to get them to not attack you. Michael Giacchino did the score, and it is very similar to the Saving Private Ryan score. So it's got this very great classic score, and kind of was the PS1's answer to GoldenEye 007. Had a multiplayer suite in it, especially had a multi-tap so you could play 4 players on screen at once. It was followed up by Medal of Honor Underground.
That's right.
In which you played a member of the French Resistance, and then it would go on to really take off on the PC. And then when Activision launched Call of Duty, that's when the genre really went from there. And Medal of Honor never quite regained its footing. But at this time, it was like, this is what made World War II shooters such a phenomenon.
Wow. This is great. Yeah, I'm watching a long play of this, and I'm seeing it's a 3D world with like some 3D like models, some 2D textures. I can't even tell if like the character's hands and the weapon in front of you that you're seeing from that perspective is 3D or if it's also a representation of 3D. But yeah, Charlie, did you also draft this one in the Space Solace Redux we did?
I don't remember.
Someone it's been brought up before, so there's a chance you or someone else did.
Yeah. But really strong, like really, and I remember it being a huge deal going to Target and buying this game when it came out because I had a Game Informer magazine, and they did like a multi-page spread like they would do on these games coming out, and I was like, I have to play this game.
Yeah, dude.
This was
when they did Medal of Honor, Allied Assault for the PC. That was the first time you got the D-Day invasion as being a playable level, and then that would happen over and over and over again in games. But I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, holy crap, like how could games ever... I never thought I'd see a battle on screen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, definitely very popular game in the GoldenEye era. And I'll say this, the PlayStation desperately needed a GoldenEye. It needed something to answer the call of the emerging first-person shooter craze that,
because GoldenEye was a console seller. You would buy the console specifically for that game, just like I would say Final Fantasy VII was.
Right, and it made it where your PlayStation would be the console that got less. If you had the option of an N64 and a PlayStation, it got less played at the sleepovers because the N64 had more. Over, exactly.
Wow. Number 7, Medal of Honor. Jeremy, let's get your number 7, dude.
My number 7 is the Christmas classic, Parasite Eve. It's sort of like, I wouldn't call this game a survival horror game. It's a RPG. Yeah. But it is a horror-themed, horror tone. It's a scary game called Parasite Eve by Square Enix, who made all the Final Fantasy games. Square really in their bag, doing really interesting stuff in this generation. We'll get to maybe some, if they're not on any of your guys' list, we'll get into some honorable mentions of Square games that were just really interesting, and this was definitely one of them. But this was a game that really captured my imagination. I remember it gave me nightmares going to bed when I was in middle school. I would go to sleep. I'd be freaked out, scared, thinking about this game. Really disturbing, disgusting, and I would say very high-minded horror themes going on in here, like possession and different kind of and identity things, and things that just really challenged my weak 12-year-old brain or whatever that I couldn't reckon with, and now like going back to it, it's such a fun little jaunt. Like you can do this game relatively quickly. I do play it every Christmas season, just to like
Do
get
you
back in
really?
that world. Yeah, it's like a nice little
Yeah.
come back to game, and the story's
Great New
really
York
good.
game.
Oh, it's a great New York
New
game. I would
York
say
game.
New York's a character.
Yeah.
But just really cool. If you've never had a chance to play Parasite Eve, it's I don't know, I don't think they need to make this available, I think, on PlayStation 5, like in their classics collection. It'd be a great addition to that because yeah, it's just I feel like a lot of work went into this game too. It was a tentpole for a second. They never really quite got the series off the ground. Parasite Eve 2 was just not quite what people wanted, and there was another game later on the
third
Xbox.
birthday.
Yeah, third
It was
birthday. Oh,
on
that's
the
PSP.
PSP. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But a cool idea for a video game. Parasite Eve.
Awesome. That was your number 7. We'll do
Yes.
mine now. This is a game that I this is the only entry I've played in the franchise. It got a big highlight in Astrobot last year, and that's Ape Escape.
Oh, fantastic.
Man, a game that requires the use of the DualShock controller, so you must have it to play this game to swing your like net. I love this game. This game is so much. I played again, very few games on this list that I have extremely thorough experience with, but this is one that I've only played in adulthood, did not play it growing up, and just had so much fun with like the action 3D platformer nature of it, and searching for these little guys, finding ways to capture different ones, bugging them up in my net. It's great. Yeah, I don't have anything I think revelatory to share about Ape Escape other than I really love it, and it's one that I actually have on my PlayStation 1, so I can revisit it anytime.
I have a couple things to say about Ape Escape. Best colors and best art style in the game. I mean, for its time, like a lot of games were defined by their gray and brown tones and textures throughout, and making a lot of games look ugly. Like
bright and vibrant.
yeah, like there's some games that like would just be a lot better. Like Vagrant Story is a good example of a game that just would be better if it just had colors in it, but it just straight up doesn't. Ape Escape is like, no, we're Mario 64, bitch. We're doing like
Yes.
as big, beautiful colors as much as we can. One unforgivable sin about Ape Escape, though, is that entire series maps jump to the triangle button, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you dirty dog, how dare you do that?
Yeah, I remember when Breath of the Wild did the same thing with like X being jumped that took so long to get used to, and it's the same thing here. Char, do you have experience with this?
I remember playing this game when because I think the PlayStation that I got was the DualShock model, so I believe it came with Ape Escape. That was how they kind of moved those new ones. And I remember playing it for a while, but I don't remember it. I was more into the gritty shit, you know.
Dude, well, you're cool, so that makes sense to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, you were pretty cool back
Yeah,
then.
I was about to reveal that nude code for Tomb Raider.
That's a really good point though. That like I don't know if Connor, because Connor, you're I feel like you're just like 2
like a baby.
years
You're like a
younger,
little
like,
baby.
but you're just like the wrong age to maybe have missed the edgelordness of this.
Yeah.
Definitely
Of
was.
this
Yeah.
whole generation was filled with, we don't want baby games, we don't want
Yeah.
Yoshi anymore, we want freaking Grand Theft Auto.
Barrett says shit, and we like it.
Yeah. And it's like, when you look back, it's like so embarrassing because
Yeah.
we did, I mean, personally, I did miss out on a lot of games that were baby game coded that were great that I just didn't play because I wanted cussing.
Dude. And you know what? That's probably the only thing that could improve Ape Escape outside of mapping the jump button somewhere else is cussing.
Like Conker's Bad Fur Day version
Yes.
of
Oh,
Ape
dude,
Escape.
let's see an ape with some big old you-know-whats. So that's my...
Coconuts.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
That's my number 7. 7. I'll go to my number 6 now before we swing back to the rest of the crew. This is a game that I've played on multiple consoles. I've played this on the PlayStation 1. I've played this game on the Game Boy Advance. It was actually a port of this, was a Game Boy Advance launch title. I'm talking about the armless and legless freak himself, Rayman.
Oh, weird.
And he's only a freak because he chooses to have hands and feet and none of the other extremities. But I like this Ubisoft platformer that's really slow and kind of clunky in some ways, but I remember just loving this character growing up. Have you guys played any Rayman?
You're talking about the original, right?
The original
Yeah,
Rayman.
I have not played the original, but I played Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends, and those are two of like the best like 2D platformers I've ever played. The art style is incredible, the music's insane. There is so much variety, so many things to do. So that made me a big fan. But yes, the older one did seem like it was a little slower.
I bet it's really hard to go back to if you've played those and enjoyed them. But because I've played it and have nostalgia for it, I like it. And moving to the better titles in the series like those that are really renowned would be easy.
Yeah, but this is a really interesting game because this was a not unlike Tomb Raider. I think it came out around the same time as Tomb Raider, and it's like a game that got never claimed officially by any one platform, and ended up getting kind of pulled, and like at one point PlayStation, it was the Saturn claimed it as their mascot, and then PlayStation had it, and then also it had like one of the best versions on that stupid Atari Jaguar console.
Yeah.
And like the game is, again, this is another big, beautiful, colorful game that was very rare for the time. But also it's like immediately after this, Rayman goes 3D for like the rest of his life until these modern ones come out, which is giving Gex lineage, where like Gex was at first a 2D platformer and then unclaimed and then moved to 3D. Weird, again, just brutal, weird time for game design. Like people just really trying to figure it out.
You had to go 3D if you wanted to be viable, especially as 3D was a big thing. But now when we look back, the 2D games are kind of timeless, and the 3D games, you look and you're like, I can't tell what anything on the screen is.
Yeah,
big time.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I'll say about Rayman is that I remember growing up really hoping he would be in any new iteration of Smash Brothers was something I always hoped for, and something that just never happened. I don't even think there's like a Mii fighter costume that's Rayman, but yeah, that's my number 6. Let's swing back to Jeremy for his number 6.
My number 6 is, let me just make sure. Yes, it's the only game on. No, there are 2 games on my list that I did play later in life that I didn't play when I was a kid or own when I was a kid, and this is the first of them. This is a game called Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Oh man.
This dovetails nicely from what we were just talking about like 2D games just not being something I wanted to look at during this whole generation, and totally wrote it off or thought and just didn't understand it, and none of my friends were telling me like none of them had played it or thought it was good. But I would later come to find out this is like one of the best games on the console, period. And then when I actually went to go play it, it turns out it just is one of the best games of all time. This was probably also one of my like. I think I had played a handful of Metroidvanias before this, but like this is a game that helped me understand the Metroidvania genre and like fall in love with it. Was really through this. Very famously, it has this
the very first one.
I guess this is it.
The very first Vania to contribute to the Metroidvania. Yeah.
Right. Like this is Igarashi's like masterpiece. And like he ends up Igarashi's the guy who basically directed the game, and he ends up doing this type of game a bunch. Replicating it over and over, and it's almost good like every single time. I don't really think there's a bad one in all of the Castlevanias. I mean, there's
Aria of Sorrow.
Aria of Sorrow is
those
great.
GBA games are really
Circle
good.
of the Moon.
The DS games.
The DS games are amazing, and even the Bloodstained Ritual of the Night game is incredible. But this is where it all started. This is where you get the character of Alucard, who just looks so cool. He's got the fucking white hair that's so long. He looks like a heavy metal god, and it's like.
Dracula backwards.
You get so many cool powers in the game, and you can transform into all these different creatures, and like, it's just so cool. And again, like, I just love a good horror themed anything. Especially I especially love horror themed stuff in something that isn't scary. Like where it's just like vaguely Frankenstein coded stuff,
Yes.
but it's not. Yeah, anyway. Great game.
Gosh, big blind spot for me that I want to play someday. Were you gonna say something else about it, Char?
No, no,
All right,
it's
well,
a great
hey,
game.
in that case, let's get your number 6.
All right, my number 6 is a platforming series that was a juggernaut at the time and has now completely fallen by the wayside unless it's remakes and things like that. But this game is Crash Bandicoot Warped.
Oh.
This is the third game in the Crash Bandicoot series on the PlayStation, the last one before it made the leap to the PlayStation 2. It is kind of like the magnum opus of the PS1 3D platformer. It is just a better version of what came before it in every way, both from a level design perspective, both from variety. There are a lot of vehicle segments, a lot of vehicle battles. It's just like there's always something new to do. There's a lot of shifts in perspectives that happen. It really felt like Naughty Dog was firing on all cylinders when they made Crash 3. So I felt like we'd be remiss if the Bandicoot didn't make it onto this list.
I'm so glad you put this on here. This was one of the games competing for my number 9 slot. And this is the exact one I would put on the list is Crash Bandicoot Warped. I think it is it's also like Crash Bandicoot 2 is really good, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot Warped is like kind of an afternoon playthrough. Like you can kind of get through it in an afternoon, and it's got all this great stuff like the airplane sequences.
Airplane
and
sequences.
stuff.
They're so good.
Yeah.
There's also, I believe, a jet ski sequence. It's very fun.
And motorcycle, because he's on the cover
motorcycle,
doing with the
yeah.
motorcycle. Yeah.
His girlfriend or his sister, whoever she is, rides a tiger at least one point on like the Great Wall of China.
That's right. Yes.
I will say this is also on my list as well.
Ooh.
This is in my next spot. This is my number 5, my favorite Crash game easily. A game that I've been playing through this year. I just haven't gotten back to it in a little bit. But I grew up playing this at my friend Ryan's house, and what stood out to me most, like my most visceral memory, is the boss Tiny, who is this giant like beast of a character that you fight. I think at the end of the first sort of series of levels.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like Crash's level design. I mean, I loved Super Mario 64, obviously, and its expansive levels, but I also like the design, the very tightly designed levels of the Crash Bandicoot games in the sense that they were relatively linear on a 3D plane. And so it was a lot about precise platforming rather than exploration being a thing. And I think it's just like a different vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Great game. That was your number 6. Let's stay with you for your number 5.
All right. The number 5 is the Christmas horror classic Parasite
Hey!
Oh, yeah! Okay, this is the second game that's been at least mutual.
I think so.
Actually, but so far none all 3.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But yeah, Parasite Eve, love it. Yes, as Jeremy said, RPG, but you kind of, it's active time battles just like in the Final Fantasy games, except you can kind of wander around until you're ATB, so you can dodge bullets, dodge things like that. And it's just like a very cool, gritty. I remember playing this game for the first time before I'd ever been to New York and being like, New York's where it all happens. Like remembering the Central Park Zoo segment, I was like,
man.
Yeah, which is like very scary, the mood, the vibes, the atmosphere are so good. Yeah, fantastic game.
Yeah. Music is also great in this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kick ass. That was your number 5. Jeremy, let's hear what yours is.
My number 5 is Parappa the Rapper.
Ooh. Kick Punch, it's all in the mind?
Kick Punch is all in the mind. So first of all the tunes in this incredible, and you wanted to hear them all so bad, so it would make you keep playing the levels over and over to try to see if you could beat your score or get to the next area. Some really underrated ones that come later is that like cooking show song that plays where you're the chicken breaking the eggs and making the cake. Parappa the Rapper, obviously legendary game on the PS1, early game on the PS1, very emblematic of the 90s rude boy culture of Bart Simpson-ifying everything. This is a very big, beautiful, brightly colored game that I did end up playing, but I think it's because it had like a vaguely edgy attitude about itself, which made it okay for an 11-year-old to play. But yeah, this is at the end of the day, this is a rhythm game, and it's not even, I would say, by rhythm game standards, a particularly good rhythm game. It's a fine rhythm game, but it's just has this legendary aesthetic, and it has this like legendary reputation for being just this game that really captured everybody's hearts, minds, and imaginations of this decade. It's really cool, and it's like the game that I think a lot of people just want Sony to do something with. Everybody kind of wants. It almost doesn't matter what it is. Like even when they give us like an Astrobot, a Parappa skin to like run around in, people are like, "Yay! That's almost enough. Just do something with him."
Yeah,
like, yeah.
I think the last appearance in a game was PlayStation Battle All Stars.
Yeah, as him as the character. Yes,
right.
I think that's exactly right. And then there is a Parappa 2 that's on the PlayStation 2.
Right.
And then there's a PSP port of Parappa the Rapper 1. It might be 2 as well, but it's also just incredible. In fact, portable Parappa the Rapper is like really the way to go. I love that PSP port.
That's like Adrian Holmes, aka Homeboy, came back on my pod earlier this year and talked about that game, but his favorite version, I believe, is the PSP portable version.
Yeah, it's just because it's so it's such a home run. It's just so convenient. It's in the palm of your hand, and you know.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Parappa the Rapper, your number 5. I have a huge update for you guys, which is as we're going through this list, I realized I had made a fatal mistake, and the reason the Bushido Blade was on my list was because I had forgotten the game that's about to go in the next spot. That bumped everything down a little bit. So unfortunately, Bushido Blade is out. So now my updated list is 9, A Bug's Life, 8, Ape Escape, 7, Rayman, 6, Crash Bandicoot 3, and my number 5 is a game called Heart of Darkness.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I drafted this one on the latest PlayStation 1 Space Solace Redux.
Yeah.
But this is a cinematic platformer released on this, and I believe it's probably on a few other platforms. But this is done by Eric Chahi of Out of This World fame, and this is essentially another take on that style of game. It is a game about a boy who him and his dog his dog gets captured by these like evil beings in some far off world. He then goes to save his dog with his like sort of electricity gun, and it freaked me out as a kid. There are some very scary animations of him getting torn apart and eaten up by monsters. And so it was one that my friend Ryan had. He's also the same guy who had Crash Bandicoot 3. These were the 2 games I would watch him play or play at his house. And I own this to this day. I played through over half of it on a stream once after someone came on to talk about it on my show. It's great. I think I brought it up a number of times on our network. Do either of you have experience with Heart of Darkness?
I've never played it.
It's worth poking around it.
I own this game.
Yes, you do, Jer.
Yeah, I own this game, and I've never played it, though.
Oh, hey. You could probably play it in an afternoon as well.
We did an episode covering Another World or Out of This World way back in the day on this network, which was I have played through that game, and that game's like amazing. I mean, it's like a masterpiece. So like I gotta play this Heart of Darkness game. Is now I'm trying to look through. Is this game anywhere else, or is it just stuck
Let's
on
look
the
it up.
PS1?
I was thinking it could be, but I could be wrong. I'll try to look it up right now too.
I'm not seeing that it was ever officially released anywhere. I don't know. It also notably has nothing to do with the Joseph Conrad novel.
Yeah. I guess according to Wikipedia, it got like a Windows port at some point. In fact, yeah, so who knows? But yeah, that's my number 5. I'll update my at the very end too. We'll go through all of our lists 9 through 1 so we can recap that. But that was my one fatal omission. I almost had like a freak out, a little silent heart attack when that happened. But that's my number 5. I will now list my number 4, and that's a game I played through in the summer of 2020. Played through this whole game.
Uh-oh.
I fell in love with it, and that's Spyro the Dragon, the first one.
Oh man, very cool.
I've heard tell that 2 is better and that 3 is bloated, but Spyro 1 really scratched the sort of like open zone, open world 3D platformer itch collect-a-thon sort of thing. I love the movement of Spyro, how he can glide, how he can charge, he can spit fire at people. I love how almost cliche the humor is in this game, because like I feel like every dragon has like the silliest voice you've ever heard, and a lot of them are British for some reason. I like that Spyro's he's a little stinker, kind of like this. Love it. And this game, I played some of it on a stream, and it's one that I just kept playing after that, and ended up finishing. Did everything I could. I don't think 100%ed it, but I got close. I love Spyro the Dragon. How about you guys?
Yeah, Spyro's great. Remember being a kid, and there were these games that I remember specifically that my sister, who is 6.5 years younger than me, would come in and love to just sit with the controller and play. And one of those was Rugrats, the game, where she would just
cool.
run around the house and not play the game.
Great game.
And then Spyro, where she
Cool.
just loved being the dragon and just running around and doing stuff and never like making any progress. But
Yes.
yeah, I loved it.
I love this game so much, but really didn't sink my teeth into it until the Reignited trilogy came out.
Cool.
And also just a little shout out to the Insane trilogy and the Reignited trilogy. I mean, I think they're both great. They're like really great remakes and remasters of these old games, and a great way to play them. And they kind of course correct some of the controls too to like make it really, really playable on modern platforms. But
That's
yes, Spyro, it's set in like a kind of a weird world where it's like it kind of reminds me of Rare, like a game Rare might make, where it's like British and it's kind of like cartoon fantasy world, like you imagine
Banjo-Kazooie world.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you imagine there's like cartoon knights and stuff storming a cartoon castle. I mean, it's just I felt like that's about both Crash, Shrekky. Very actually, that's better. That's like probably the best comp is like Shrek or something. But that is to say, like Spyro, like himself, I like you kind of mentioned his voice, it's kind of nasally or something. But I'm like with Spyro, I'm like, who are you? Who are you though?
Yeah.
What are your wants?
He's so guarded about outside of his snark.
Yeah.
He's so guarded. Yeah, so that was, I think I missaid the number. That's my number 4 right there. And Jeremy, I want to know what's sitting in your 4 spot.
Okay, my 4th spot, I think I'm going to get the first game where all three of us, I'm going to lasso all three of us together. And my number 4 is Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, number 4 on your list.
Yeah. Did I get anybody else?
Oh, yeah, you got me, baby.
I got you both. Okay, good. Okay. Metal Gear Solid. What can you say about this game? I mean, there's so much has been said about it already. I mean, like we were texting about the other day because Charlie's actually playing through these Metal Gear games in real time as we do our Death Stranding 2 Games Club, and as he's doing it, I'm having my own mental trip down memory lane, thinking about the games and like. Metal Gear. Oh, this is the second game on my list that I didn't play till I was an adult. I actually played this for the first game. This is so embarrassing on the PlayStation Classic.
Dude, that's how I touched it too.
That's the first time I played Metal Gear 1. And I fell in love with it. I'd also at that point already played through Metal Gear Solid 2 and 4 and 5. So it was like going back to something that I had never really seen with my own eyes, but felt very familiar because I had known so much about the Psycho Mantis stuff. I had known so much about the look at the back of the box, Snake, all that stuff. And I think why this game I think still remains my favorite Metal Gear game too is just like the almost arcadey nature of the game. Like this game does not have like 1,000 systems all competing with one another. Like the Metal Gear games get more complex and more beautiful as they go along. But this game is so simple, and I think that's what I really like about it, is the very simple top-down strategy nature of the game that I just found so satisfying when I played through it. That first time, and again, love the story. But for me, it's all about that rogues gallery. Like there's just a science to getting that just tuned right, where everybody makes sense. Like you want the silhouettes of all the characters to look cool next to each other, and this game really has that thing going on. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid. I'm not saying anything new about this game, but just love it to death. Number 4,
Dude, it's. We have such a similar experience with this, Jeremy, in the sense that we came at it late. We both played it on the PS Classic for the first time. It's also my personal favorite Metal Gear Solid game in the series, and for such similar reasons. Like, there are things about it that were so creative for games at the time, whether it be like, footsteps staying in the snow and a soldier being able to follow you, or using smoke to like make a camera not be able to see you. There was cool things like that, but you're right. It is kind of like the distillation of what makes that series cool, at least especially 1 through 4. And I'll say a little bit more about this game later, or rather, I don't really have much more to say about it. I'll tell you when it
you'll
pops
say when
up
you get
on
there.
my
Okay,
list.
great. Yeah.
Jeremy, that's your number 4. Charlie, we're back to you.
This one's also not gonna be a shocker. It appeared on someone else's list
Ooh.
earlier. But my number 4 game on the PlayStation 1 is Tekken 3. Tekken 3, just to expand a little bit on what Jeremy said, in addition to playing through the campaign so many times because there were so many characters to unlock, there were also so many modes. There was like an entire RPG game within it. There was volleyball. There was bowling. Yeah. There was so much that you could do. And I think that was the first time I'd ever been like, the amount of content that Namco is giving you on this game is criminal. Like they, because like versus so many games that are just basically just like story mode and that's all you got. This just had so much to do and so much replayability, and also gave me my favorite Tekken character of all time. He's still my main to this day, Eddie Gordo.
Oh yeah. Is this his first appearance? Is in 3?
He might have been in 2, but I think this is the first time that I fell in love with him. But I remember just like the fluidity of his movements and the fact that you could chain so many moves together to like never stop, so that you were just juggling people in the air, sweeping, just everything about it, backflips, somersaults, all that stuff. I also loved like when I was a kid, I loved the gimmicky characters like your Roger and Alex, your kangaroo and your velociraptor, or the panda, and those types of things, which I thought was so cool. But yeah, Tekken 3, great game.
Yeah, Eddie Gordo, by the way, had such a profound hold on kids. Yeah, that when he's not in a Tekken game, people go fucking crazy. They do not like Eddie Gordo not being a part of their Tekken.
Yeah.
Shout out to Corey Webster, who talked about this game on my podcast last year, and who also stands Eddie Gordo. Go figure.
Yeah.
Incredible. Tekken 3 making a second appearance on somebody's list. Charlie, let's get your number 3 while we're here.
My number 3 is on a previous episode was the 3rd favorite on everyone's list, and it's my 3rd favorite game on the PS1. That is Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh!
Final Fantasy VIII is a game that I remember being so excited to come out
Yeah.
after Final Fantasy VII. And I remember getting it, and I remember when I first played it, I remember being blown away by the visuals and confounded by the gameplay systems because they were complicated and difficult and so foreign to me, who had been trained on the Materia system. And then when I was in college, I came home for a summer and got out my old PS1 and then decided like I am going to do this, and I just fell in love with this game. I just
Dude.
was like, I loved it. I got so into it. I did everything I could to get Squall's like final ultimate where he can do like 270,000 points of damage in a single limit break. Just just kind of blew me away. So yeah, huge fan of this game. I think it's oft maligned in the PS1 Final Fantasy canon. And yeah, big fan.
I remember seeing this at a friend's house in like junior high, not knowing. I mean, I could have guessed that it existed because I knew 7 and I knew 10, so there had to be some in between. But I remember seeing the characters and being like, wow, they're all so thin and beautiful. Because these character models are so different compared to what you saw in 7.
Yeah.
And you may have already said it, Charlie, but what's the card game in this one?
Oh, Triple Triad.
Triple Triad. I also have heard
Yeah.
such praise heaped at that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it kind of was what would go on to be like Gwent for the Witcher series and things like that. These games within a game that end up just consuming so much of people's time. Blitzball in Final Fantasy X.
Yep. Queen's Blood.
Queen's Blood. Yeah.
Nice, Jeremy, were you going to say something about this?
Yeah, I gotta say something about Final Fantasy before we move on, because I'll just spoil. It's not on my list, but it is like such a. It's like game. It's like if Final Fantasy 9 is 9A, this is like 9B. It's like so close to being my favorite thing, and I'll say that there's. This is number one on my list of most anticipated games ever of all time. That I would read gaming magazines for any clue or shot or anything of Final Fantasy VIII. I was so obsessed with what was going to be in this game and what it was going to be about, and I just can't remember being that feverishly excited for something to come out, and even to this day, even like it's like I was so ready for Final Fantasy VIII, and it really did not disappoint. I mean, that's the thing about it is like Charlie's right. There were some systems things that I didn't understand, but back then I didn't really care. If I didn't understand something, I just kind of blew past it, and I was like, I'll just button mash or something to figure this out. Like, it'll wash over me, and I'll get it through osmosis as I'm going. It really didn't hold me up too bad, and I got enough of it at the time to like get through at least disc 3. I don't remember ever seeing credits on my PS1 original, but I got through most of the game and just still think that it has probably the best score of the PlayStation 1 era. I love the music in this
Really
game.
good.
I don't know how it goes, but it's
that's
kinda like
exactly
that.
it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's how the whole thing starts that way. You are like, you're like 12 years old and you're like, you're just like freaking
Vibrating.
out. Yeah, you're vibrating. You have the zoomies.
Dude, incredible. Final Fantasy VIII, Charlie's number 3. Jeremy, what is sitting in that 3 spot, baby?
Resident Evil 2.
Ooh.
Is in my number 3 spot. Resident Evil is a survival horror game, unlike Parasite Eve. It did scare the ever-living hell out of me. I also had a lot of nightmares about this game. But it was the first time in my life where something was so scary I could barely take it. But I had to keep going because everything else about it was so cool. The lore was so cool. How all the extended characters like knew each other. How you'd read their little backstories on little pieces of paper you were picking up along the way. The double disc nature of Resident Evil 2, where you could like be Leon or Claire, and your saves would talk to each other between the discs. Like it was just such an incredible package. for the time. And we did the remake for our Games Club here, and a lot of us talked about our experiences with that original PS1 classic. But one thing that I really appreciate about that remake is that it is such a remake that it makes playing the PlayStation 1 game still a thing. Like, you can still very much do that, and you're getting a completely different experience. I mean, it's like it is still in the same way that playing Final Fantasy 7 today is like still a thing you can do because that remake is so different, you know. But yeah, RE2 is I think that definitely starting with Metal Gear and going through my number one, I would consider these all masterpieces. It's just a masterpiece. It's so good. And you can play it now on PS5. It's like out on the Classics collection. So
this is one that, you know, I like Symphony of the Night before it on your list that I know I would adore, and I just still have not made the time for it.
It's great. You would love it. You would really, especially after playing the remake. I think it's like playing a demake. You'd be like, ooh, I think you would get a huge kick. I think you would actually know where to go too, because the map is so faithful in both games. So.
Dude. That makes me feel better because it's always felt scary, not just because of the content, but because I'm like, well, I understand how to play this.
Yeah.
So, Jeremy, that was your number 3. We're back to me, and my number 3 is a number 2 in a series, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Oh, okay. This is my number 2.
All right.
Wow.
This is a game that, like, I grew up. I played the shit out of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 on the N64. I played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 because I got it with my Game Boy Advance after my 11th birthday, the year it came out. They did a port of this game, and I fell in love with it. It was not until, I think it was 2020 or 2021 when I got that little PlayStation 1 where I finally played through this entire game on the PlayStation 2. And boy, this is like I still have the most nostalgia for that GBA version, but this has got to be like the best way to play 2. And then revisiting it on the remake was amazing. But 2 advanced just enough in the series to that iteration that it did with the, you know, being able to chain things. I think the manual is what they introduced in 2.
Yeah.
That with more stages, with unlockable characters, like all the little advancements they made it's like a perfect game. On this series. You said it was your number 2, Jeremy?
It's my number 2. I agree with you. It is a perfect game. It is. It should be my number 1, honestly. It is like, based on the amount of hours I spent playing it, the create a park aspect, the create a skater aspect, Spider-Man being a playable character. I mean, there's just so many things you could point to. It was just like also the perfect timing. I mean, this game lands like Tony Hawk 1 almost like started my engines for skateboarding.
Yes.
Tony Hawk 2 is like, I'm in the thick of it. I'm buying a skateboard. I'm already wearing the clothes. I'm already like, I'm assimilated into the culture of skateboarding.
Yes.
And this game comes out and it's just a perfect confluence. And then like 3 is like a perfect game too, but I'm glad you didn't pick 3 because 3 on the PS1 is just such a compromised version. It really belongs on the PS2. It's really on that good console list. But the 2 is like the game for this generation. And I mean, the soundtrack doesn't have the Goldfinger song, but almost every other song you would come to associate Tony Hawk with is on the 2 soundtrack. I mean, including Guerrilla Radio, which is I think how I heard about Rage Against the Machine for the first time, which ended up being like one of my favorite bands for this whole generation. Man, I cannot. There's just so little wrong with it. It doesn't have BAM. I guess that's one thing.
Oh, it's pre-BAM,
Pre-BAM Margera, but other than that, man, it doesn't have reverts, which, you know, that's a really cool part of 3, but man, it's just, it's so good.
Yeah, you and I have gotten to talk so much about Tony Hawk over the last 5 years. We did an episode on the 1+2 remake 5 years ago. We did 3 again, an episode on 3 last December. But this game, the reason it's on my list is because this is the place that outside of the GBA, this is the place I played this one the most. That's my number 3. My number 2 is Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Okay.
You're doing some math here. You're figuring out what's probably my top spot.
Yeah, we know what number 1 is now.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, we do.
it's the
we
Rugrats
do.
game.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, and well, and my number one is Final Fantasy VII. So I guess
My number one is Final Fantasy VII.
I love it. I mean, you guys have more experience with this game, both past and present. It's one that I remember the first time I really dove in. My friend, oft mentioned best friend growing up, Eddie Martin, had a PlayStation 3, and there was one summer where I borrowed his PS3. I borrowed his
Shrek.
copy of
I'm a
Final
donkey,
Fantasy.
Shrek. Eddie Martin. favorite comedian.
I was watching Shrek the DVD the whole time, and now I'm seeing the joke you were making. My brain was spinning. I was like, I don't get it, and I was like, oh, Eddie M. Eddie Gordo lets me borrow this PlayStation 3. I borrow his copy. You know, it's four discs? Final Fantasy 7? Three. And I'm doing this summer. I think it was the summer going into my senior year, or was it junior? Whatever. I'm playing summer baseball with my high school. I'm coming home. I'm playing Final Fantasy VII. I love it. This is a game that I've still never rolled credits on, but that I've several times have played through like disc 2 basically. And God, is this not a masterpiece? I mean, you guys have more to say about it than I do. If you want to jump in right now.
I mean, yeah,
Your favorite game ever?
It's my,
Jeremy?
it's yeah. I mean,
Yes.
it is my favorite game of all time. It's hard, right? Because I think, like, it's getting old. You know, she's getting old, and it's like I love her so much, and she only, I think, just became less playable in the last decade, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
but for a long time, you could really revisit this and just have a blast, and you could still sit there and have the patience for it. I mean, Final Fantasy VII, though, it's just so hard to not put it number one because it just meant so much to me. I mean, it's more
Yeah.
about like what it meant to me at the time.
Yes. Absolutely.
Which is that like it changed, and we kind of talked about this on that episode, but like, or maybe I didn't, but I've said this before. It like taught me about storytelling a little bit, and it got me interested in like wanting to tell stories and like what you could do with stories. And it's like, you know, it could have been anything that did that for me, but it happened to be this because of all the twists and turns in the narrative and stuff that really inspired me as a child. But yeah, it's just like it's everything. Final Fantasy VII is everything. It introduced me to anime. It's like introduces me to like all kinds of stuff. It's like you know, and why does so many people have that experience with it? It's just such a weird thing, right? Because it is true that like it's such a big deal that Square made this their Star Wars. This one game is like their Star Wars.
Yeah. I would say that it's like from my experience, what ended up happening was during the Super Nintendo era, I was a little younger, and I was definitely more focused on games that got me to the meat of the game quickly. That I could just play them, several levels. Shrek!
Remember, remember the meat improv? That's what I was referencing.
Yeah.
I do. But this, and, you know, so RPGs were ones that I didn't put as much time into, especially being young, because I felt like those were for older people that just wanted to sit and read all the time. And and even though I loved books, like video games were very much my diversion from books. But then when I was at my cousin's house and I saw him playing Final Fantasy VII, and I was like, this like cyberpunk dystopian world, and like watching him play and through the Midgar section, and then getting to the edge of that bridge after that big fight, and then being like that, like I thought Midgar was going to be the whole damn game. And then all of a sudden you're out in this overworld and you're traveling to all these places, and it's beautiful and it's green and it's lush, and like you're seeing like a completely different biomes, completely different things to do. Every place you went, there was a whole real-time strategy component to the game in Fort Condor. There was just like all of these things and summons and all sorts of stuff. And I just was like, I had no idea at my, you know, little 12-year-old or 11-year-old brain could comprehend that a game could be so big.
Yeah.
And so it just, and then it made me want to revisit all sorts of, as you said, anime or any kind of like cyberpunk dystopia type,
Media.
yeah, media. And it kind of started my love, because I am a person who has a big love for apocalyptic and dystopian media. And I think it all started with Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's and I do think like I compared to Star Wars a lot. I just did it, but there is so many great parallels with Star Wars. And as a kid, most kids I think grow up with Star Wars, loving Star Wars, and being so intimately familiar with the beats of Star Wars. It's almost like it gets you like, for example, like disc 2 of Final Fantasy VII starts off in the snow, like episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back does, and Hoth. It's like there's so many things that are like exactly the same about it. And I think that the character of Sephiroth is particularly profound to a lot of people for some reason growing up. I think it might have something to do with the look, and then just nailing the tone of whatever that guy is. He's so scary when you first encounter him.
Your first like experience of him is the fact that he has slaughtered an entire building full of people,
and you have to follow his trail of blood to where he is. It's like it's just so
Sephiroth did this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's again, like just the whole beat of, you're the protagonist, but you're a liar and a coward actually, and a weakling is like, oh my God, like that's such a crushing moment. Yeah. And then of course, like, the thing we often I think don't even talk about anymore because it's been talked about to death is the Aerith's death, which is like the thing about the game that there was referenced in a philosophy class I had in college later in life. The professor just talks about like, he's talking about these things where like unchangeable things that like you can't do anything about, basically, and he references he just dropped it in a I almost said sermon, but what is it, a lecture. He just like randomly drops like, in this, you cannot do anything about it. You cannot fix this narrative. You can never go back and save Eris. Like he just says it like out loud. Up. It's about something else, but he's using it as an example of like, there were so many people who tried to like get a Game Shark and bring her back, or like find a code or a way around. And there were so many rumors that you could save her and you could avoid her death if you just did certain things, like the Pokemon Mew Red and Blue stuff. And the game was just fucking exciting.
Nude code and
the nude code. It's also, it's also very this and Metal Gear Solid. I think might also be like the beginning of the cinematic gaming experience. Period. Really, I mean, to the extent in which they start to have games looking a lot more like cinema and feeling more like cinema.
That presentation is really strong, and they sure lean into that.
Great stuff. It's hard to like say new things about Final Fantasy VII, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially with us, because we've been doing podcasts for 3,000 years now, and it's just like, the older I get, the more I'm just like, it's everything. It's everything I do.
People like to be haters too now, because it's like annoying. It's annoying to have Final Fantasy VII be your favorite and all that stuff, because like. Yeah, it's like when it comes to it, a lot of it is it was a really rushed development cycle, so it's a little compromised. They didn't get to put as much depth in the systems and things like that. But me at 11, that's the most complicated game I've ever played.
100%. And then I think also too, the older you get and the more media you ingest, you start to kind of crave a certain level of sloppiness that like maybe like a younger person really wants perfection. They really want things tightened and all the hard edges sanded off. But when you get older, you start to realize like actually like no, there's a whole like there's something cool about the art style that changes between all kinds of, like they're little chibi guys now, they're full adults, and whatever else, it's like it's, and then the cutscenes, there's several different cinematics that have different art styles attached to them too, and it's anyways, great stuff. So that took care of Tony Hawk Pro Skater is my number 2, and that's my number 1. Is there anyone you have missing from your list? I think you said them all, or no?
No, Metal Gear Solid is my number 2, and then final.
Yeah.
And the thing that I will say about Metal Gear Solid,
yes, please,
or Metal Gear Solid, is that I played it for the first time 2 weeks ago. I had played it when it first came out, and just was like, oh, it's too hard. I didn't want to do stealth when I was young. I was like, don't make me hide. Let me go out and kill everybody. I want to kill everybody.
Yes.
And so I was always, focused more on the action games. But now, playing it now, I realized that it's basically playing like a Tom Clancy movie. Splinter Cell is kind of that, except it something went wrong and the processor glitched in the middle, and so the Tom Clancy game becomes like a waking nightmare.
Yeah.
And so there are those stealth components. There's a lot of really cool systems that I think are still jaw-dropping, knowing that they did it at the time. It's the first time you had like a vehicle turret section in which like you're being chased you're shooting guys in trucks and motorcycles to get away from stuff. The rappelling down as the helicopter is shooting at you. Changing the controller port in order to be able to hit Psycho Mantis Psycho Mantis.
Was this your number 2?
Yes.
Charlie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Go for it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's my number 2. And when Psycho Mantis also starts reading your memory card and threatening to delete all your data. This is like, I don't know if a game to this point had ever been meta like this. It's an extremely meta game, which will be surpassed by Metal Gear Solid 2 in metagaming. But for my mind, I'm now midway through Metal Gear Solid 3. I played Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 1 is still at the top of the list for me at the moment.
What the hell?
The gameplay is better in MGS2, and there are some really cool story moments, and obviously the presentation is a lot better. But I found the base,
Shadow Moses,
to be
great name.
I found Shadow Moses to be a much more focused experience than I did with Big Shell. There was like the beginning, like there's like a 2 or 2.5 hour period in MGS2 where you were just going from like core to core disarming bombs by freezing them, and I am like, I don't ever want to have to disarm a bomb again. I was like, how many times is this game going to make me do this? And funny. Really, really cool story stuff. Some really cool things where you're trying to protect what's her face as the snipers and the drones are all going. It's not Meryl. Meryl's in 1. This is in 2. This is Otacon little sister.
Oh god,
Emma.
yes.
Emma?
Yeah. It's Emma, because Otacon left and she's really mad, and then he reveals it's because he slept with his stepmother and it made his dad kill himself.
Yeah. Which people don't know this, but like that porn trend actually started with Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah.
See, Kojima's so prophetic. Everyone's been saying this for years. He predicted stepmom stuck in washer.
I mean, in Metal Gear Solid, it's so funny when you meet Otacon. He's like, I'm an otaku. I just sit on the internet all day looking at anime girls. You're like, all right, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Metal Gear Solid, it's still one of those games where you're like, oh, this is like, and when they say mature, because there were a lot of games with like a ton of blood and gore, a lot of stuff like that, but like this is a game that was dealing with the threat of nuclear annihilation that persists in our world, and like the very real effort to try to, which would persist throughout the entire Metal Gear Solid series, from what I understand, is that it's constantly focused on nuclear proliferation, but then adding in this just bonkers lore and in a way that is so compelling. In the same way that as we're playing Death Stranding, the fact that he has just created this stuff that is both ridiculous, but you're like, yeah, I buy it. It's just a different world than our world, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting. All the stuff you're saying is so true. And I think, but I do think in Metal Gear Solid 1, it's the most tamped down it ever gets. Like, that's one contributor to, I think, why Metal Gear Solid 1 stands out, is because by the time you get to 2, we are in outer space in terms of what's going on. And you kind of are in 1 too, but the way that it all unfolds, it's like slower and easier to digest. And it still kind of feels like, oh, maybe this could be a movie that would come out in like a theater. Yeah. But by the time you get to 2 and 3, and especially, 4 and 5, you're like, okay, this is like very indulgent in a good way, in a way that a lot of people love, but it's like very self-indulgent. But like Metal Gear Solid 1 still feels like a really tight, almost like hero's journey type story. It's like a Michael Bay movie with weirder things put on top of it. Man,
sure.
Yeah, I think that's partly why, again, I also like connect with it a lot too, is like it feels like the beginning of something that's gonna just get fucking nuts, and that beginning part is just so exciting.
Yeah,
big time. Yeah, this is my number 1, which you guys knew based on process of elimination, my favorite PlayStation 1 game of all time. And you've said all the things that I could say about it, but it is truly, it's a game that like I've played about 3 times now and been played through it this year, and I just, when I think about it too, it's the same way that I think about Ocarina of Time at this point, where I'm like, the playthrough itself is so satisfying. I get so much out of it. There's so much it almost overcomplicates itself, but doesn't in most ways, unlike, some games that would follow in the series, and a series I adore. And yeah, it's magnificent. I love how it's kind of campy in some ways. I mean, Jeremy, at least for once on the podcast, can I get one brother?
Brother!
Am I honestly, when I'm like on my deathbed, I need to do that. It might give me an extra few seconds. I love Jeremy's Liquid Snake impression. Yeah.
Oh man, you cut off Otacon's hand. No, I'm sorry, Ocelot's hand.
Ocelots.
And it's so crazy. It's like the very first time you meet this guy, he's like doing all his cool tricks, and you just the ninja just slices
Cyborg
off
ninja.
his hand.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And then in MGS2, Ocelot's hand is now Liquid Snake.
It's just a whole thing. Yeah, it's just like a whole new. Oh man, it's so great.
Crazy, but I think we must have got there because Charlie, did you mention, or Jeremy, you mentioned your number 2 as well?
We're done.
THPS?
Yeah, we're done with the list. Yeah.
Well, let's go through count 9 to 1. Why don't we? Charlie, kick us off. Take us from 9 to 1.
9 to 1. 9. Soul, Blade, Edge, whatever you want to call it. 8. 1. 7. Medal of Honor. Oh. Are we going in order?
No, you did it perfectly. It's just that 8. 1 was so funny.
1. 7. Medal of Honor. 6. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. 5. Parasite Eve. 4. Tekken 3. 3. Final Fantasy 8. 2. Metal Gear Solid. And 1. Final Fantasy 7.
Beautiful. Jeremy, let's get yours.
9 is Final Fantasy 9. 8, Tekken 3. 7, Parasite Eve. 6, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. 5, Parappa the Rapper. 4, Metal Gear Solid. 3, Resident Evil 2. 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. And 1, Final Fantasy 7.
And for me, number 9, again, my list changed because I forgot about a game. Number 9 is A Bug's Life. Number 8, Ape Escape. Number 7, Rayman. Number 6, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warp. Number 5, Heart of Darkness. Number 4, Spyro the Dragon. Number 3, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Number 2, Final Fantasy 7. And my number 1, Metal Gear Solid. We did it, folks. The PlayStation 1 top 9 is here. I did want to open it up to you two. Jeremy had said something about honorable mentions.
Yeah, we should do a couple
titles you guys feel like throwing out.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw out some games that definitely almost made the list, but didn't. I really wanted to have a racing game on here. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But there's 3 that I'd like to shout out: Crash Team Racing, perfect game; R4 Ridge Racer, perfect game; Wipeout 2097, perfect game. And then Rival Schools is this really fucking cool fighting game on the
Yeah.
console. There's a ton more. Do you guys have anyone to shout out? I could do more, but
Yeah, I have a couple. This would have been my number 10. Is Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha 2.
great version.
Yeah, on PlayStation. And then Rival Schools was also on my list. And then Wild Arms was on the
Oh.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wild Arms 1 and 2 on the PS1,
Yeah.
both great. Connor, you got any on HMs?
I'll just name I have HM Surf. The only one that I'll list, because most of mine are games that I want to play someday, which you guys had several of these on your list, like the other Final Fantasies. I want to play the other Spyros, the other Crashes, like the Tomb Raider is a game that I played on my friend's PC a little bit growing up, but never on the PlayStation. And Bushido Blade, a game that got bumped from my list.
Nude code.
You're gonna want
The
that nude
code, Charlie.
The Tomb Raider 2 specifically almost made my list for a minute there, and it didn't, but I put a lot of time into it, and Tomb Raider is always a game I wanted to like because it seemed like a cool franchise, but it's just controlled too clunky.
Yeah.
But I did love running around her mansion and then trapping the butler in the freezer. That was always a fun thing.
I loved the only one in that series that I played, other than trying to play Tomb Raider and finding it too clunky, was the reboot, the 2013.
Oh, yeah.
Tomb
Oh,
Raider,
yeah.
and that was really good.
Yeah.
Dang.
Original Silent Hill is
Oh my
fantastic. Final Fantasy Tactics is a great game
Oh.
that is getting a remake here pretty soon. That I think the world is about to rediscover the power of Final Fantasy Tactics, and they'll probably end up making a new one. My bet is they're going to make a new one of these games at some point. And then Einhander, in keeping with like incredible Square Enix creativity that wasn't Final Fantasy at the time. Einhander is like this shooter. It's like a shmup kind of game.
Yeah.
And then another one was Brave Fencer Musashi, which is like this little like kind of like your little ninja samurai kid running around hitting things. There's 2 more Resident Evil games on the console. There's the entire Twisted Metal series that I played a lot of.
Another one this one is one that I didn't discover until it was ported to the PSP, but I think most people say that the PS1 version is the superior version, even though they're very similar, is a Valkyrie Profile.
Oh,
yeah.
Which is a really cool RPG about building an army of souls that will fight with you during the Battle of Ragnarok. You are a Valkyrie who is and the end of days, and you're basically like ushering in Ragnarok. So and it's a very like mature and has a very cool battle system.
Amazing. Folks, we've done it. The PlayStation 1 top 9 has been completed. As a part of, the PlayStation 1 30th, that we're doing just a few bonuses over here this year about celebrating the 30th anniversary of this console's existence in the, at least our region up here in North America. That'll do it for the episode. Let's get some plugs before we go. For me, you can follow me on Blue Sky at Connor McCabe and check out my podcast if you don't already listen to it on this network. Call Me By Your Game. It's a show about what makes video games special to different people. Charlie, what do you want to plug?
Well, please listen to the Death Stranding 2 Games Club on the Patreon. And then please listen to my podcast, Baywatch Watch, where Zach Olson and I are watching every episode of Baywatch and talking about it with a guest.
Incredible. Jeremy Schmidt.
Oh, well, you definitely have to listen to Video Games and Comedy Show, anywhere podcasts can be found.
And for the network, again, if you are a patron over on the Super NPC Radio Patreon, thank you so much for your support. Let us know what you thought about this episode in the PS1 30th channel. In fact, let us know what your top 9 is. I'll probably prompt this when this comes out on Patreon. I'll probably prompt the channel to get some of those from people. I'd love to hear what yours are. Follow us. If you're not in the Discord too, join us as a free patron on Patreon or at a paid tier. We'll send you a link. You can even message us if you don't get that immediately, but you should. You can also follow us on Blue Sky and Instagram at Super NPC Radio. And that's really gonna do it. We won't tell you what else we have planned for the PS1 30th, but there'll be at least a couple more bonuses at some point this year. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for listening to this, and we'll see you on the next one.